Hey there, I'm Gabby and I'm a wet and wet oil painter. And today I want to talk about 10 important things that you should have in your studio for oil painting that are not oil paint. So let's get started right away. So number one on my list is going to be an apron. So aprons, for obvious reasons, I would suggest one that goes over your head and that covers your lap completely. Obviously to protect your clothing. I've wrecked a lot of clothing doing this and I'm really bad at remembering to put on my apron, but aprons are a must. Okay, so that's number one. All right, number two, a cloth sheet. And I have a few of them. This one I use, it's all covered in paint, right? And I just lay it over my lap while I'm painting. But more importantly, a couple big, like old bed sheets, right? Nothing special, doesn't have to be anything special. I suggest you go and look at like a thrift store for these. If you do not paint in a studio and you paint in, say, any room in your house, I would suggest that you have 3 sheets, okay? You paint into the corner of a room, you put one sheet here, and one sheet underneath you. If you wet and wet oil paint, paint flies. It gets on everything. So a great way to sort of create a makeshift studio and keep the paint contained would be by painting into a corner, sheet underneath you. And if not, they're just great for throwing over stuff that you need protected. Okay, so that's the next thing on my list. Number 2. Number 3, some sort of garbage receptacle, okay? A garbage can or even used grocery bags, okay? Anything. Just something to put your garbage in. I have 2 garbage cans. I have one for garbage and I keep a garbage bag in it, so once it's full I can pull it out. Very helpful because you always have paper towels and stuff that you're throwing away, okay? So a garbage can. I also use one for my beater rack, and I wanted to mention that because I have a lid for it. I used to not have a lid for it. It keeps the smell in even if you use scent-free paint thinner, which is what I use. I use Gamsol. And I do suggest either using Gamsol or something that has a very low flash point or high flash point. I don't remember. One that's not super flammable. Gamsol is not very flammable, okay? So any paint thinner that's not flammable. Otherwise, every single day when you're done painting, that garbage can that you put your paper towels in needs to go outside of your house because they can combust. They can be very dangerous. Baby wipes. Okay? And baby wipes are great for a couple things. They're good for wiping off your hands, wiping off surfaces, and because they're already damp, you know, if you get paint somewhere it doesn't belong, you can just wipe it off right away. They are also great for wiping off the handle of your paintbrushes, okay? With that, I suggest that you have a little baby wipe dispenser. And this is something you should be able to get for $3, and they usually have the wipes in them. And they're good to have a dispenser so they don't dry out. If they ever do dry out, reconstitute them with water. That's all you have to do is add some water to them. I did that to these this morning. Okay, paper towels. Okay, and good sturdy thick paper towels are great. Good for wiping stuff down just like the baby wipes. They're also great for wiping the paint off of your brush first before you put your paint into your paint thinner. It'll keep your paint thinner cleaner, and it's just a really good way to get the paint off your brush. And also I use them for wiping off my palette too, you know, when things get messy. All right, next on our list, I suppose I should just have my list up here. Okay, next is glass jars. These are something you should be able to get for free. Just by cleaning out your refrigerator. Most of us have glass jars of stuff in our fridge. I use these little ones for putting a little bit of paint thinner. I make my own liquid clear, so I just do that painting by painting, and so I just mix them in these little jars. They're great. It's nice to, like, I have my bucket that I use as a cleaning rack, and I basically just dip my brushes into it, but having a little jar of just completely clean paint thinner on hand is helpful as well. And not just little ones, but big ones. So I have jars of paintbrushes. I have racks too. This jar in particular is all paintbrushes I'm going to get rid of because I don't use them. I also have a jar that specifically has dirty paintbrushes in it. And as my paintbrushes get used, they go in the jar. Now I can take them back out and use them, but eventually I'm going to take them and wash them. And that's controversial, I know. I wash my paintbrushes. What you do with your paintbrushes is your business. However, I wash mine, and I wash mine about once every week. And if I'm going to be gone for any amount of time, I'll take them and wash them. But putting them in their own jar means that I know it's dirty. I know it needs to be washed, because all my clean ones that have not been used since they've been washed, they don't need to be washed. Okay, jars. Next, a mirror. Look at a thrift store. Look at a cheap store, whatever. You shouldn't have to spend much money on it. And if you can get a body mirror, it's easier because it can sit and then you can just move it around. So I paint here. The mirror goes behind me so that I can look over my shoulder and I can get distance and I can see my picture from a distance, because what you see up close, what you see far away, two very different things. If you paint and you do not step back from your paintings, that is something that is a must. If you want to be able to see what you're doing, you need to see it from a distance. Distance gives you the illusion, and painting is an illusion. You need to have distance for that illusion. Distance also gives you grace. Okay, it gives you a little bit of forgiveness, because once you step back, you're not micromanaging what you're seeing the whole picture. Having a mirror over your shoulder means that you don't have to walk away every 2 seconds to see your painting. Seeing it from a distance will show you depth in your picture that you did not see when you were up close to it. And you will see your painting taking on its own life from a distance. So if you can put a mirror behind you, you'll save yourself time, energy, everything, and you will become a better painter, trust me. Next, Dawn Ultra or Dawn Platinum dish soap. I prefer the Platinum, it's better than the Ultra, okay? Not generic Dawn, not other brands of dish soap, not simply Dawn. It needs to be good, strong Dawn. If they can use this to clean off wildlife and oil spills, it will work for your paintbrushes. So I use it for 3 things. I use it for my paintbrushes. Like I said, I wash my paintbrushes. The second thing I use it for is I use it for washing my hands and my face and my legs and everything else that I get paint all over, because I get paint all over me. Now, honorable mention that I should say here would be like nitrile gloves. I have a thing about having stuff on my hands. It's like, for me to even wear my ring, it's like the only thing I can handle on my hands. I don't like gloves. I cannot stand gloves on my hands. But really, we should be covering our hands to protect ourselves. But if you get paint on your hands or on your face or anywhere else on your body, Dawn is great for washing it off. Number 3, I use it for washing my clothing. If I get oil paint on my clothes, hot water, Dawn dish soap, right away. Scrub it, rinse, scrub it, rinse. A lot of Dawn, a lot of water. You should be able to get most, if not all, that paint off your clothes. Dawn Ultra or Dawn Platinum only. I tried the generic, by the way, like the generic Ultra. It was terrible. It went to washing dishes, and then I got other Dawn dish soap. Okay, number 9. String or masking tape. And masking tape is this white, sort of opaque, really terrible tape that the kids use in like school for art projects. And it is for water lines, to give you a level line. Now, tape is great because it gives you 100% block. I don't like anything in my paintings to look perfect, because nothing in nature is perfect. So by having string, I can sort of work around it, but either string or masking tape. You don't have to do that, but it really does help give you an eye for what's level. All right, last thing on the list, last thing on the list. And before I move on to that, a notebook and pencil are actually very helpful. You can take notes. If you watch videos, you can take notes. Sometimes I just take notes of like ideas of stuff that kind of comes into my head, little things that I discover as I'm painting. So a notebook and a pencil are a good thing to have. So last thing on my list, though, is a TV tray. And you can usually find these at a thrift store for just a couple bucks. TV trays, obviously, they fold up. So they're great. You can just fold them up and get them out of your way. It's an extra surface, and in my opinion, no matter what I'm doing, I always need an extra surface. So it's a place to put your palette, a place to put dirty paintbrushes. So sometimes it's good to have a couple of these, really. A place to have your clean paintbrushes. It's a work surface that you can move when you're done. So that's it, guys. Those are the 10 plus a couple honorable mentions of things that I think that every oil painter, albeit every painter, should have in their studio to make their lives easier, to make painting smoother, all that kind of fun stuff. So that's it, guys. Any questions, comments, concerns, if you could put them in the comment section of the video, and I will do my best to answer them. I appreciate very much for you watching this video. If you could like, share, subscribe, that would be super helpful. I am Gabby. Thank you very, very much again for watching, and I really do hope that you fall in love with oil painting as much as I have.